Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another Black Powder update. Today I have my next unit of Brunswick troops to show you. These guys are made up of elite miniatures with a handful of leftover front rank and a Perry's command, which I believe is actually made up of a mixture of the two that are available. Okay, so let's do what I normally do and give you the blurb, and then we'll go in for a closer look. I'll try and keep this as short as possible. So here we go with the blurb. We have the 2nd Light Infantry, commanded by a Major von Brandenstein. And let's get going. So we'll start with the normal rear unit. So here we go. As you can see on this particular stand, we have 2 front rank guys and 2 elite. You can tell the front rank guys because they have the British satchel bags and water bottles, and the elite guys have actually got the older style, probably got from the Austrians, although it's pretty much a generic-y type water bottle for the period. The French use that style a lot, but then the French military didn't actually have a standard water bottle, I don't think, which is why you see a lot of mixture of water bottles on French troops. Yeah, really nice, really happy with the miniatures. Again, they have their sort of their standard little gripes, you know, with slightly fugly faces, the odd officer figures, etc., etc. But again, overall, I'm really happy with them. They fit in really well with the front rank and the Perry, so you can't really complain, really. And they're, you know, pretty decent price as well. Let's go on. So for the company next to them. So here we have again the front rank guy at the start, or the front, and 3 of the different positions, or the three different positions. So we have of the elite, so we have this guy here, which is on the previous stand, and this guy here, and you can see that I've trimmed the moustaches off these 2 guys to make them look clean shaven. I think that adds a little bit of extra character to the stands, rather than just you know, carbon copies of the same guy with moustaches all the time. On to the next unit. Here we have a corporal. I mixed in quite a few more corporals than I normally do this time around. I think there's maybe 4 floating around. Again, all these guys, I believe, are front rank. Yes. And you can see, obviously, they've got the yellow facings this time. Yep, really happy with the elite miniatures, like I said. Onto the front ranks now. So here we have the drummer's stand. Drummer is Perry's, and then we can see that we have 2 actually front rank guys on here, and 1 elite. And again, you can see they all scale together really well. And another corporal there too. So that is the drummer stand. Then we have, let's go across to the NCO stand now. Slight difference on this NCO stand, that they haven't got an NCO on there, they've actually got a corporal. And that's because I forgot to paint up an extra sergeant. But it's not the end of the world. I actually have a sergeant in the command group. So here we have, what do we got? I think all these guys are elites. Oh no, 1 front rank. Now, I'd say if there's one gripe about these particular guys, is that the stance on them, especially the ones that are kind of marching forward, but pretty much all of the elite miniatures, they wouldn't stand up on their own. The combination of their stubby short stands and their especially these ones leaning forward, the sort of the stance wouldn't allow them to stand up on their own. So it did take a bit of extra time, basically gluing these guys down to their bases, because for each elite guy, they had to basically, you know, super glue and then hold down until it was set before I could start doing the next guy. Because otherwise they just wouldn't stand up, you know. And there's nothing worse than you know, not giving the super glue enough time to properly set, and then as you're putting the next figure on, the one you just previously spent a minute holding down when you should have spent 90 seconds holding it down, falls over. But to tell the truth, I didn't have too much trouble. It just took a lot longer to base them than it normally would. So yeah, that's the would normally be the NCO stand. I suppose you could still kind of say it's an NCO stand because it has got a corporal on there. And then finally we have the command stand. Here we have the guy who was converted to be the sergeant because I didn't have a sergeant figure. I actually used the sergeant figure that came with the elite box in my next battalion. So he is just a converted from a trooper. And then we have the secondary officer here. I really like this guy. He's got a slightly different sabre to the commanding officer. He's got like a light cavalry sabre, and the officer's got maybe a heavy cavalry sabre, or maybe a different type of cavalry sabre, because Brunswick officers did use Austrian swords. Although I believe actually when they took their British equipment, they may have got hold of some British swords too. So I don't know if this particular guy has actually got a British sword. But yeah, I really like this figure. I thought he'd make a great commanding officer. And you can see he's maybe a little bit younger than your average sort of commanding officer, but then again he's only a major, so you know he could be in his sort of mid-30s, mid to late 30s, maybe possibly even early 40s. And yeah, so really happy. And of course the bugler, again parries. 3 of these guys are parries from the command group, and this guy is a I believe is he a front rank? No, he is an elite. So yeah, there we go. So that is the second light. I'm doing really well on these guys. I've basically, well, I've already got my my third light infantry ready to go. I'm in the process of doing the command figure at the moment for these guys, for the lights. I've actually, I now have literally, after I finish the third, just the Lieb infantry to do, and then the Uhlans and the artillery batteries, and of course a few extra command figures, and of course finally, I suppose as a sort of maybe a little bit of a reward to myself, doing the actual the Duke of Brunswick. And for him, I'm actually going to use one of my Uber command bases, which I reserve for like the highest ranking commanders, which are going to be on these 100, I believe they're 100 mil circular bases, which you can really go to town on making a nice little diorama. And I've got to say, I've got a nice array of extra mounted troops that I can basically stick like maybe 6 or 7 mounted guys on here with the Duke. So yeah, quite looking forward to that. That'll be a nice little reward to myself at the very, very end of the project. So yeah, that's the end of this. I've actually just had a little bit of a paint resupply come in. I've had like 4 or 5 bottles of paint come in. I must admit, I'm having trouble trying to match the orange of the third light at the moment. I've actually brought like 2 colours, and both of them I think are going to be failures. And then of course in classic style, I picked up a light orange, thinking, oh, that's maybe a little bit bright, but it's not too far off it. Maybe I could like darken it down a little bit. And then of course in classic style, you look at the other oranges you've got, and you've already got a light orange. So I ended up with 2 of those, which is probably a real bummer, because I've had the other light orange for years and years and years and years, and I've hardly used any of it. In fact, to tell the truth, it's actually quite watery, so I don't know what this one's going to be. Maybe this one's going to have a slightly better consistency. But anyway, that's unfortunately one of the troubles of buying new paints. Anyway, I'll cut the video here, and I'll catch you in the next one. So until then, bye bye.